As soon as Brock and I had set up camp this past June, we got right to work marking out the outer perimeter of the foundation of our cabin. We had the measurements from the blueprints. We tapped posts into the ground for the corners. We pulled out our matching tape measures and pulled a perfect rectangle using the Pythagorean theorem. The foundation was marked out in 15 minutes, right? Yeah, not so much. Here's what really happened. Brock and I made every mistake in the book and turned a 15-minute job into a 3-day job. Watch what we did wrong and keep watching to see what I think we should have done. The first thing we did was to fashion some corner posts to attach string lines to. Brock was all for going into town and purchasing some metal stakes to pound into the ground, but I'm all for saving money. I grabbed 4 pieces of firewood that I cut the previous summer and used a hatchet to cut the end to a point. We pounded one into the ground, put a screw in to hold the string, and pulled out our first measurement of 32 feet. Once the first measurement was done and the second post was in the ground, I attached a string to the 2 posts. From there, we measured for the second line and attached a string, then checked for square. Okay, so can you zoom in on this? We're going to mark this one at 3 feet. I'm marking it with a Sharpie. And then we're going to come out, ouch, 4 feet on this one. You mark that. Now, you know your square. If you can measure from your 3 feet mark to your 4 feet mark, or 4 foot mark, and get exactly 5 feet. There, and I am only off by about 1.5 inches. Once all 4 strings were pulled and were close to square, we pounded in the T-posts for our batter boards. At least there was one part of the job that was easy. And finally we got to try out our new laser level. We knew that we wanted the house to sit about 2 feet above grade. We also knew just by looking that our grade was close to level. So we set the level for those 2 feet and attached the first batter board. Then we had to start over with our first corner much closer to the ground. We couldn't believe the new line was right, so we checked it with a bubble level. It was right. This is why it is so important to use a level and really know what your grade is. Because as we stand here, our site looks not quite level, but almost. And you can see the difference in the 2 pink strings. One goes just a few inches above the ground. The other is actually on level. And there is a difference over the course of those 34 feet of how much, Brock? 2 feet?
$2.8 almost.
We finished putting up the batter boards for the corners and started pulling strings again. We started by just matching the top strings to those on the bottom. Then we used the 3-4-5 rule to check for square again. As we moved from one corner to the next, we had to measure from intersection to intersection. We needed 34 feet from east to west and 32 feet from north to south. But our 100-foot tape measure wouldn't hang straight, so we measured in 10-foot increments, marking our spot as we went along. It took both of us trading spots and double-checking marks to get the lines pulled tight and squared up. It seemed like an endless job. The easiest part was putting up the batter boards and pulling the strings for the 2 inside trenches. No need to overcomplicate that. After 3 days of working, struggling, arguing, and limping around in pain from my broken foot, we finally got the string lines up. Now here's what I think we could have done better. First, we assumed that our site was close to level. Instead of assuming, we should have gotten out the laser level first thing and actually checked the grade. By walking around moving the detector up and down on the grade stick, we could have learned right away just how steep our slope was. Second, we should have used long square posts for our corner stakes. That would have allowed us to line up our intersections just outside the posts instead of eyeballing it or using the plumb bob and prayer method. Third, we should have purchased 50-foot long tape measures. Yes, they exist. This would have allowed us to easily measure the diagonal and adjust for square. We did everything wrong when laying out our foundation. Hopefully, by watching this video, you'll be able to avoid those mistakes. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative or entertaining, please consider subscribing and leaving a comment.